Have you ever felt like your energy is fading faster than it used to? You know, when you used to enjoy walking through the park, but now it feels like a struggle? Or maybe you've noticed that your body isn't recovering as quickly after a day of chores or socializing. These changes can feel discouraging, but I'm here to tell you, it doesn't have to be this way. In fact, as we get older, we have more power than we think to take control of our health and vitality. One of the most important things you can do for yourself as you age is to make sure you're eating in a way that actually supports your heart. Now, I know many of you have been eating the same foods for years, maybe even decades, believing they're the healthy choices. But what if I told you that some of the fruits you've been reaching for daily, thinking they're good for you, might actually be doing more harm than good? As a heart doctor, I've seen this happen far too often. Seniors walk into my clinic thinking they're making the right choices. They've switched to fruit instead of dessert. They're avoiding sodas and drinking juice in the morning. They feel like they're doing everything they're supposed to. But what many don't realize is that certain fruits, depending on how they're eaten or combined with medications, can push the heart toward real danger. Some spike your blood sugar, others interfere with prescription drugs, and some carry more sugar than your heart can handle at this stage in life. In this video, I'm asking, truly begging, every senior to rethink these 5 fruits that could be harming your heart. I'll walk you through each one, explain what makes them risky, and offer heart-smart alternatives that will make a big difference. These dangers are preventable. You just need to know what to watch for. Let's start with the first fruit that might already be sitting in your kitchen: bananas. Now, we've been told for decades that bananas are the ideal snack. They're soft, portable, easy to digest, and packed with potassium, which is essential for heart health. For many seniors, bananas are a go-to choice, especially after a walk, before taking medications, or as part of a morning smoothie. But what if I told you that this gentle fruit, when consumed without awareness, can quietly push your heart toward failure? Potassium is vital because it helps regulate your heartbeat, supports muscle function, and maintains fluid balance. But here's the catch. After the age of 60, our kidneys don't filter potassium as efficiently as they once did. And many heart medications, such as ACE inhibitors or potassium-sparing diuretics, already increase potassium levels. So what happens when you combine that with a few bananas a day? You have a dangerous combination. According to a study published in the American Journal of Kidney Diseases, older adults have a decreased ability to excrete potassium from the body, which increases the risk of hyperkalemia, particularly when consuming potassium-rich foods like bananas. I've watched seemingly healthy seniors, active, alert, arrive at the ER with irregular heart rhythms, extreme fatigue, and even sudden collapses, all linked to undetected hyperkalemia, excess potassium in the blood. The tragic part is they thought they were making the right choice. "Doctor, I gave up chips. I only eat fruit now," they say. What they didn't know is that a single large banana contains over 400 milligrams of potassium. Multiply that by 2 or 3 bananas a day, and over time, it builds up silently, without symptoms, until the heart begins to misfire. I'm not saying bananas are bad. I'm saying they require caution, especially if you're on heart or kidney medications. Don't eat blindly, eat wisely. Your body has changed, and so must your choices. Now, if something as soft and sweet as a banana can betray your heart, imagine what happens with a fruit that seems even more innocent, praised for its cleansing effects. Let's talk about grapefruit. For many seniors, grapefruit has that nostalgic, fresh start vibe. It's tangy, bright, and feels like a healthy choice, especially at breakfast. But behind that familiar taste lies a hidden threat. For those of us over 60, especially those living with heart conditions, grapefruit can become the enemy of the very medications meant to protect us. Grapefruit interferes with a key enzyme in the liver, CYP3A4, that plays a major role in how our bodies process many medications, including blood pressure drugs, statins, and antiarrhythmics, which are all critical for heart health. When grapefruit blocks this enzyme, it causes medications to build up in the bloodstream, sometimes doubling or even tripling their potency. The side effects can be subtle at first: dizziness, lightheadedness, muscle pain. But I've seen it escalate into far more serious outcomes: dangerously low blood pressure, erratic heartbeats, and even hospitalization, all from a simple glass of grapefruit juice. Most people don't realize that grapefruit isn't just another citrus fruit. It's a chemical disruptor. A single glass of juice can linger in your system for days, affecting how your medications behave long after you've taken that last sip. So before you reach for that grapefruit half tomorrow morning, ask yourself, is it really worth the risk? Now that we've covered bananas and grapefruit, let's now move on to a fruit that might seem harmless, but is often hiding a much bigger danger than most realize: dried fruits. Dried fruits often have a wholesome reputation. They remind us of simpler times, trail mixes, homemade snacks, and those little boxes of raisins tucked into lunch bags. For many seniors, dried fruits are a daily ritual. They're easy to chew, quick to grab, and often seen as a healthier alternative to sugary snacks or baked goods. But here's where the deception comes in. When fruit is dried, it loses all its water but keeps all of its natural sugar, and sometimes even more is added to enhance taste or increase shelf life. This means that a small handful of dried fruits can contain more sugar than a candy bar. Yes, you heard that right, more sugar than a candy bar. For seniors, particularly those managing high blood pressure, prediabetes, or heart disease, the sugar spikes from dried fruit aren't harmless. They lead to inflammation, unstable blood sugar, and insulin resistance, all of which put a strain on your arteries and heart. I've had patients who proudly tell me they've swapped cookies for dried fruit, thinking it's a heart-smart choice, only to return weeks later with rising A1C levels, unexplained fatigue, and stubborn weight gain. Research has shown that high sugar intake, especially in the form of dried fruits, can exacerbate insulin resistance and increase the risk of heart disease, particularly in older adults. According to a study published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism, excessive consumption of sugar, particularly fructose found in dried fruits, can significantly contribute to metabolic issues like insulin resistance, which is a major risk factor for cardiovascular diseases. The truth is, the body doesn't process sugar the same way after 60. Even a small amount of sugar can have an outsized impact on how your body feels and functions. While fresh fruits provide balance with fiber, water, and vitamins, dried fruits are packed with concentrated sugar, with very little of the other nutrients your heart needs. So, before you grab another handful of dates, raisins, or dried mango, ask yourself, is this helping my heart or quietly harming it? Now, if dried fruits are deceptively sweet, what about canned fruit in syrup? This might be sitting in your pantry right now, and it's one of the biggest culprits I see in my practice. Canned fruits were once seen as a symbol of care. Maybe a neighbor brought over a warm peach cobbler, or a family member served a soft pear in syrup as part of a comforting meal. It's easy to associate canned fruit with care and nourishment, but what many seniors don't realize is that the syrup often turns a healthy piece of fruit into a sugar-laden disaster for the heart. The syrup used in canned fruit often contains high fructose corn syrup or refined sugars, and these hidden sugars can cause major problems for people with heart disease, diabetes, or high blood pressure. They spike blood sugar, raise triglycerides, and can inflame the delicate walls of your arteries over time. These daily indulgences, often seen as harmless, contribute to weight gain, insulin resistance, and silent strain on your heart's most vital functions. According to a study published in Circulation, high fructose corn syrup, commonly used in canned fruit syrups, has been shown to increase triglyceride levels and promote fat buildup around the abdominal area, which can lead to insulin resistance and a higher risk of heart disease. I've had patients sit across from me in disbelief, telling me, "Doctor, I don't eat junk food. I just have canned fruit after lunch." But every bite of that canned fruit is flooding their system with excess sugar. What's even worse, there are no warning signs. The damage starts slowly, quietly, and by the time you notice it, it's often too late. If fruit is meant to heal, it has to be real, not drenched in syrup and sweetness. Instead, opt for fresh or frozen fruit, or if you're buying canned fruit, choose those packed in water. Your heart deserves better than sugar wrapped in nostalgia. Now, if syrup can sneak its way into your diet, there's another fruit that's even more deceptive: watermelon. It seems like the perfect summer snack, doesn't it? It's sweet, hydrating, and refreshing, making it an ideal fruit for a hot day. But here's where watermelon can be a tricky friend to your heart. For seniors, especially those with heart or kidney issues, consuming too much watermelon can cause problems. Watermelon is high in natural sugars and potassium, both of which are fine in moderation. However, when consumed in excess, like when you're eating large portions, it can overwhelm your system. For those on medications like diuretics or blood pressure pills, watermelon can cause sudden drops in blood pressure, electrolyte imbalances, or even dehydration. A study published in the American Journal of Hypertension found that large quantities of potassium-rich foods like watermelon, combined with certain medications, could lead to significant changes in blood pressure and electrolyte levels, particularly in older adults. I've seen patients who have eaten watermelon all weekend and come to me feeling lightheaded, weak, and dehydrated. They didn't realize that their well-meaning choices were draining their bodies of balance. It's not that watermelon is inherently bad. It's that it's easy to overdo it without even realizing. The sweetness feels pure, the texture comforting, but in high quantities, it can tip the balance of your heart stability. After 60, the line between what's healthy and what's too much becomes thinner than ever. So, before you cut into that bright red slice, ask yourself, is this a treat or a threat in disguise? Now that we've covered some of the most common fruit pitfalls, let's move on to the last one, the one that seems healthy on the surface, but is often one of the most dangerous for your heart. Stay tuned, because the next fruit is one that many seniors eat without a second thought, thinking it's doing more good than harm. This is the last fruit on our list, the one that seems healthy on the surface, but is often one of the most dangerous for your heart: apples. Apples are a classic snack, beloved for their sweetness, crunch, and versatility. They've long been touted as a heart-healthy fruit due to their fiber content, which helps lower cholesterol. But here's where things get tricky. For seniors, particularly those with heart conditions, the sugar content in apples, especially in large quantities, can have a significant impact on blood sugar levels and insulin sensitivity. This is especially true if you consume them in the form of apple juice or applesauce, which lose much of their fiber and concentrate the sugar. Research published in the Journal of Nutrition highlights that while apples are high in fiber, when consumed in excess or in processed forms, they can still cause a spike in blood sugar, which may contribute to increased insulin resistance, especially in those with diabetes or prediabetes. This can strain your heart as the body struggles to manage these elevated blood sugar levels. The truth is, eating too many apples, especially the juiced or sauce varieties, can inadvertently contribute to the same cardiovascular risks as eating high-sugar processed snacks. When choosing apples, always try to go for fresh, whole apples with the skin on. The fiber in the skin helps to slow down the digestion of sugar, making it easier for your body to process without overwhelming your heart and blood sugar levels. Eating them in moderation is key. As we wrap up our discussion on these 5 fruits, It's important to remember that small, mindful changes in your diet can have a huge impact on your heart health. By understanding how certain foods, even ones that seem healthy, can interfere with your body's balance, you can make better choices to protect your heart and live a longer, healthier life. Now, I know that you might be thinking, but I've been eating these fruits for years and I'm fine. And while you might feel okay right now, the damage is often silent and it builds over time. Your body is constantly changing, and so should your habits. It's never too late to start making more informed decisions about the foods you eat. Let's recap a few key takeaways. Bananas, when eaten in excess, can cause potassium overload, especially if you're on heart or kidney medications. Grapefruit can interfere with critical heart medications, making them too potent and causing dangerous side effects. Dried fruits, while easy to snack on, are packed with concentrated sugar, which can contribute to heart disease and insulin resistance. Canned fruits and syrup often contain excessive sugars, which strain your arteries and contribute to weight gain and heart failure. And watermelon, though refreshing, can cause electrolyte imbalances when eaten in large quantities, especially if you're on diuretics or blood pressure medication. But don't worry, this isn't about cutting out fruit entirely. It's about making smarter choices. Choosing fresh, whole fruits over dried, canned, or juice versions can protect your heart without depriving you of delicious, nutritious options. And always remember, moderation is key. Now, I encourage you to reflect on what you've learned today. Perhaps you've been eating one or more of these fruits without realizing their impact on your health. Take this knowledge and use it to make choices that will truly support your heart. Your heart deserves the best care, and making small adjustments today can lead to a stronger, healthier tomorrow. If this video has been helpful, please leave a comment below with a 1 to let me know you're with me on this journey. If you have any questions or want to share your experience, don't hesitate to reach out. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more heart health tips and insights. Here's to living your best life at any age, making smarter choices, feeling energized, and living fully. Thank you for watching, and take care of your heart, because it deserves all the love you can give it.